tend to think that the hierarchy or dominance above you is something that you need to kind of, point to in order to gain or to step up to. But with this, it's just like, oh God, this breath out, because you created something so fucking incredible, so new. It's remarkable. It is, and when I say remarkable, it is unmatched. It cannot be touched by another. I mean, the experiences...
So your experience is something that...
of course it can be very similar, the feelings and emotion, but what you stimulate is so yours. It's...
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what may give a rise to someone having a bad experience?
To be honest, I don't know how to. Well, I do know how to answer it a bit, but this is again an assumption of mine. I don't understand how somebody could have a bad trip, and well, that's one answer. But obviously, I'm going to deplete that answer because I'm about to tell you what I think.
Okay.
I really think when somebody has a bad trip, it is an easy way as the person observing that to understand that that person is actually quite bad. Or when I say bad, I mean, I don't want to say evil either, but they aren't a good person. And that's only and it might sound kind of odd of me to say, but the things that they have done in their life that they understand are negative, bad, cruel, manipulative, they reflect on that and they're completely troubled by this. And it's almost like a feeling of being in hell. Because that's where this stipulation of hell and heaven I'm sorry, I put it up and said hell. It's where that stipulation comes from, because, if you are truly somebody who's trying to be good, you will come about this lucidity. But if you are someone who is very bad, you will not be put into a good place on this compound. You will be put into a ring of absolute frustration. You will be so demonized in this that you will just try to fall asleep, and you cannot. You're trapped in your thoughts as this terrible person.
So do you think it's almost like that person, if that were to happen, they'd have to learn a lesson?
Yes.
And change themselves when they're out?
Of course. And actually, even if you're not a bad person in a sense, it changes you profoundly. Because, well, another analogy I like to give on it is, for example, I hate the word character. Because the word character, it summarizes who you are, it generalizes who you are, it puts you in an eggshell in a word. But what psilocybin does is it hatches the egg. It is a rebirth, a re-understanding of who you should be and how you should live, how you should treat others.
So it almost pushes, you can say it, I don't know what the analogy, it shoves it in your face.
Oh, it does. It doesn't shove it in your face, it fucking runs right through you.
And it hits you like a ton of bricks.
That's not even a good weight to come about describing it.
Is it, pretend alright, everything you might have done wrong is like this ocean of water and it drowns you in that water?
Yeah.
Is it that intense of a feeling?
I'm sure it is. I wouldn't know because I don't really consider myself a bad person, and
Did you ever have something that you might have done wrong?
Of course. On the first few experiences, you're very troubled by things that you've done. You know what I mean? Stupid things. You know what I mean? Stealing, or manipulating someone, or maybe having meaningless sex with somebody. It troubles you because then you're like, oh my God, what the fuck was I doing? It's because everything you do should have meaning. You know what I mean? It should have a relevance or significance to you and who you are. And I don't know. It's a good it's an incredible compound because what it does is it brings apart morals to the being. Like, for example, I don't look at women for their exterior anymore at all. It's almost impossible for me to do.
Okay.
You know?
Would you say, I guess this is getting a little philosophical, but would
It's
you
fine.
say...
The whole fucking idea of this is philosophical.
True. Would you say, because I think we had this conversation before, but I'm not sure.
We probably did.
That,
We've already had this conversation before, actually.
that,
So.
that Jesus is the idea of all this?
Oh, God.
Let's just go into Bible.
I'll gladly fucking go into theology, because with theology, it brings you into mycology. To study religion, it just drops you into this fucking pool of mycology and, like, mushrooms.
Okay.
And a great story I'll go about is the story of John Allegro. And John Allegro was an archaeologist, and he was also a Dead Sea Scroll scholar.
Okay.
And he was picked in the 70s to decipher the Dead Sea Scrolls, and he was an atheist. He was one of 22 people to decipher these scrolls, and all of the others were archbishops. So without him, you have an incredible one-sided feel, argument, idea.
Okay.
But thank God, if there was one, he was there to put about his opinion, well, not his opinion, the fact of the matter. And after 2 months of being in the Vatican and looking at these scrolls, oh God, the Pope was not happy with what he came about. Because he told the Pope that the 12 disciples, which is also very allegorical, there probably wasn't 12, there was probably a lot more. To use the word 12 is a very numerological number. It stands for the 12 zodiacs. It stands for so many things. So the number 12 is fucking stupid to use for that. But the 12 disciples were a fertility cult, worshipping a fungus. And that fungus was the Amanita muscaria fly agaric mushroom. It is the epitome of the mushroom that everybody thinks about, the red and white mushroom.
Okay.
And Jesus Christ was not a man. He's a mythos. I mean, to sum that up, and not to just say, oh, he was a fucking mushroom. The idea of Christ, the death, resurrection, birth on Christmas, blah, 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 that is in so many different religions that I can't even name them all right now. It is in over 2, 3, 4, 5 dozen religions. It's so fucking ridiculous. It gets me mad that people think they know, and they get so, oh God, they get so caught up in these beliefs that all they need to fucking do is open a book and say, oh wow, everybody else is doing exactly what I'm doing, but that one's name is Shiva, that one's name is Minerva, that one's name is Colossa, and it's just like all these gods are exactly the fucking same, and that means they all stem from one place.
And they're
well,
interchangeable.
Not one place, but they all come from the same fucking thing. And what is that? That's the mushroom, because the mushroom, the psilocybin mushroom, the psychoactive mushroom, grows everywhere, on every continent, on every space of the globe. And to delve into that a little more, like I was saying earlier, it's a phallic symbol for a penis. That's why God is a man. They call it the little god because when you take these things, you start to speak to the higher self. And this higher self teaches you how to, and I still don't know whether this is the higher self or it is the mushrooms itself, or it's the consciousness of the biosphere telling you how to be.
Okay.
I still haven't figured that out for myself. But for right now, I'm going to say it's the higher self. It is the soul that understands all of these things.
Okay.
But, look at you fucking smirking over there with my words.
She's 16.
Oh, well, this is a great time for you to be indulging in this shit. To go on about that, where was I?
Do you want them to go away? They're bothering you?
Who? Oh no,
Did I
no.
laugh or something?
Where was I on that whole tangent?
You were confused as your own.
Oh yeah, I didn't know
higher
whether
self,
I don't know whether this is the
or
mushrooms
higher
or the soul,
consciousness.
whatever. But to go back into the whole God thing, the
yeah.
composition of that. It's thought to be something higher, a higher being, but it's really you. And it's funny because women, from what I've read and things like that, women are very quick to understand that this is the higher self. But men, they seem to, I don't know, almost discredit themselves by saying it's something more. But it is something more.
Outside of them
It
that's
is
not
something
related.
more. Like the consciousness that we live in, the open fabric of reality, is something more than you. But these things, these compounds, it opens up the seat of the soul. It opens up the soul so you get introduced to it. And with that, I mean, it's something is higher than you. But it is you. It is who you are. And that's
well,
what. And
would
that,
you say you in a sense of not an ego you, but more of a
there is no
conscious
ego. What these
you?
things do, these vanguard compounds, is they crush the ego. They smash the ego. They don't diminish it. They don't kill it. It's almost like a light bulb. You can break a light bulb, but you still gotta clean the fucking pieces up. But what psilocybin does is it keeps it in pieces in a corner of your mind.
okay.
You know what I mean? It will come back with fucking a vengeance, but you can keep it away.
Why is the ego detrimental to
Because it's
awakeness or
it's detrimental to you because it's what makes you fear things. For example, there is nothing to fear, and to fear death is funny because death in itself isn't real. Reincarnation is very real. For example, when I said I had this experience with a cat, it's because this soul that has embodied this cat has been through infinity amount of lives.
Okay.
And you don't die, you dematerialize to a different organism. Like, for example, I forget what religion it is or what belief system, but I want to say Tibet or Cambodia. They had, I was probably all of them, a lot of them. They read, when someone dies, they read from the Book of the Dead for 49 days. And 49 days is supposed to be these levels of the soul before it reincarnates. And that's also very funny because on the 49th day of a fetus being in a woman's stomach, that is when sexual selection happens. That is when the pineal gland is actually created. That is when pinealine, melatonin, and dimethyltryptamine create in the pineal gland. And the only reason I stress sexual selection is because the soul gets split into a masculine and feminine. That's why you're able to find your soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, it's very hard to do so, I would imagine. But,
you have multiple soulmates?
No. There's going to be one person that you connect with and bond with. Whether that be male or female, you know what I mean? But I think, like, for example, to talk about homosexuality, like, not that it's a bad thing, but I think it's almost impossible to find your soulmate in the same gender because of the fact that the soul splits to a masculine and feminine.
Oh,
Like, I mean, I'm very happy when somebody is happy with their selection of a mate, whether that be male or female, but I would arguably say that the only way to find your soulmate is to look in the opposite gender.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just, I feel like it's something that's given. It's a dualism of life, just like light and dark.
What about the theories that show that people within like a female body, they might feel like they're male and their brain chemistry shows that
that's
brain structures show that they are male? So can you...
That's a very odd... Yeah, I really think that actually
There's three different theories on like gender identity, gender...
Right.
Like, how you feel about other people.
I think that's definitely due to the fact that, like, for example, if you were somebody who felt like you were a man, or wanted to be a man, it's definitely possible that you are the masculine energy of that twin soul, or what Rudolf Steiner calls the twin flame.
Okay.
And you are that masculine energy put into what happens to be a feminine body. You know, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does. There's a lot of people who you feel that way.
What do you think
it's
about
quite normal.
Genders? Why do genders exist? Have you ever pondered that?
You know, I haven't.
Well, I mean, I guess it has to because there's a masculine, feminine. Instinct
Exactly.
that
There's
makes it
there's
complete.